emergencies that can impact your wallet. It can be a challenge to afford to deal with the results. So what options do you have to prepare beforehand? For that and more, let's bring in tax attorney Toby Mathis to help us out. Toby, good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So let's talk about the kinds of emergencies and last-minute expenses, right? Those are the ones that catch us by surprise. And if you're not ready, it can be costly. What situations are we referring to?
Oh, you could have everything from a medical expense or just having an unknown expense around the house that comes up and gets you. Or you may just run out of your emergency savings. Maybe something's going on in your household and you're depleting money faster than you're bringing it in.
Right. And I know we've done polls and studies and it's shown time and time again how large of a percentage of Americans don't even have $1,000 in their savings account. So it's really we're putting an emphasis on preparing that. Let's talk about ways that you can, I guess, set up cheap and easy access to those funds once you have them.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that they're sitting on assets that may be used as collateral for something like a line of credit that doesn't cost you a nickel, but that if you need it and you didn't have this set up, it could be extraordinarily expensive. For example, this is scary, but if you have to use a payday loan, the annual percentage rate, according to most consumer protection bureaus, is about 400%. Or if you're not prepared and you have to use a retirement account, you may be looking at penalties of 10% plus your income tax. Like, these things are really expensive access to money. So it's really important that you have access to capital before you need it, or you could find yourself having to use one of those sources and just getting taken advantage of at that time. It's the old adage, I'd rather go to the loan shark because they only take a finger. These guys are taking 400%.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to do that.
Yeah, and it's for that reason, actually, that they're not allowed in certain states because it's such a high interest rate. So some folks might agree, yeah, I totally wouldn't do that. But what do you do instead? What's a good alternative?
Let's look at collateral that we might have. A lot of folks have life insurance. They don't realize that they can borrow against the cash value of a lot of their life insurance policies. Or they might have a brokerage account. It may be a retirement account, and they don't realize that they can borrow against it. And that the cost of paying back, for example, a 401k loan might be 5% versus 400%. But you got to set these things up ahead of time. Or if you have a brokerage account, people don't realize there's something called a security-backed line of credit that you could establish ahead of time that doesn't cost you a nickel. It's literally zero.
Oh, wow.
And the interest rates on these things could be 5-6% if you need them.
I wonder, is there ever an exception to paying a high interest rate or a penalty? Is there an emergency that justifies that?
The number one emergency that puts people into bankruptcy is unknown medical expenses, having a medical emergency. So at that particular time, I don't think we care what we're paying. We just want the pain to stop, or we might not even be in a situation where we have any control over it. They take us to the hospital, the ambulance shows up and they cost us a bunch of money, or even worse yet, you're the victim of an accident and you've been hit by somebody who doesn't have insurance. And for some reason, they're chasing after you for these bills and you're not able to turn around on somebody else. In those particular cases, you're paying it out of your pocket.
Yeah. A different approach to this topic for folks wanting to start saving up that money. Any tips that you would pass along to them to get there? Because it's already hard as it is. Some folks don't have perhaps that much left over, or they don't think they do. What would you say?
Sometimes it's about leverage. So, I'm a tax attorney. I'm always trying to find extra dollars that are sitting around that you're overpaying. That's the easy one. But a lot of times it's just discipline. I use a 70-30 rule with my clients, which means try to live off of 70% of what you're taking home and then use the additional amount to pay down any debts you have and to invest. Yeah. A lot of folks don't realize how effective that can be over the long haul.
All right. We got to wrap here, but you're the expert. So how can folks get in touch with you if they have any questions?
Best thing to do is go to YouTube and just type in Toby Mathis. That's the easiest thing you could do.
All right. There's all the information, different ways to reach him. Toby, always appreciate the tips. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Of course. You too.
All right.